PhinsTalk Nation, what's up, NFL fans? What's up, Dolphin fans? The Miami Dolphins and head coach Jeff Hafley have hired their first two coordinators and their first wide receiver. Well, he's hired his first wide receivers coach of his tenure. I'm going to read to you a couple articles, then I'll go into some stats for each coordinator, and including the wide receivers coach. The special teams coordinator is former Buffalo Bills special teams coordinator Chris Tabor. The new Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator, is former passing game coordinator Bobby Slowick. He has been promoted to offensive coordinator. And lastly, the new Miami Dolphins wide receivers coach is Tyke Tolbert. Last year worked with the Tennessee Titans the last couple years. Let me go ahead and read to you some articles, and then I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on every single article, and then give you some stats on the coaches in terms of years of coaching, and then give you my final thoughts. 5 things to know about Chris Tolbert, the Dolphins' first coordinator hire for the Jeff Hafley regime. This article is written by Kyle Krabs, the NFL national writer, which I hope one day to be collabing with on this channel, on the PhinsTalk by Rolling McCullough's channel. And he wrote this article for AZ Sports. Miami Dolphins head coach Jeff Hafley has secured his first major hire. The news dropped Friday evening that the Dolphins were signing on their first coordinator of the Jeff Hafley era, as it was a coach whose unit the Dolphins saw up close in person twice in 2025. Former Buffalo Bills special teams coordinator Chris Tabor has joined the team. Tabor shared a staff with Hafley in 2014 and 2015, where he served as Cleveland's special teams coordinator while Hafley coached defensive backs. What else stands out about Tabor's resume? Here are 5 things to know. Tabor has coached a trio All-Pro returners, including one in 2025. Buffalo Bills running back Ray Davis was named the first team All-Pro as a returner in 2025. He averaged nearly 30.5 yards per return on 31 returns. Tabor coached Devin Hester from 2008 to 2010, including an All-Pro season in 2010. Hester led the league in kickoff return yards and 3 touchdowns that season. In Cleveland, returner Josh Cribbs made the Pro Bowl in Tabor's second season with the Browns as special teams coordinator. His Panthers special teams unit in 2022 and 2023 ranked 6th in the NFL in EPA. The Panthers special teams unit under Tabor in Carolina was a good group. Kicker Eddie Pinheiro made 33 of 35 field goals in 2022. Punter Johnny Hecker averaged 48.5 yards per punt in 2022, and then 46.8 yards per punt in 2023. Nearly half his 81 punts were downed inside the opposing 20-yard line during the 2022 season too. In 2023, young returner Emir Smith Maseret led the league in punt returns and tied for the league lead in punt return touchdowns. He served as a replacement head coach for the NFL franchise twice. Tabor served as interim head coach of the Carolina Panthers in 2023, posting a 1-5 record across the final 6 games after the team dismissed Frank Reich. But his first head coaching role was a much more unique circumstance. He stepped in for Matt Nagy for 1 game in Chicago during the 2020 season after Nagy tested positive for COVID-19. The 5-0 Bears lost the Monday Night Football 24-10 to the Los Angeles Rams in Tabor's head coaching debut. His Bills unit in 2025 needed a combined 6 kickers and punters to get through the season. Mitch Warzowski, Cam Johnston, and Brad Ribbons appointed for at least one game for Buffalo in 2025. Matt Prater handled the primary kicking duties, but Michael Badgley did kick for 2 games for the Bills. That's before you include primary starting kicker Tyler Bass, who had hip groin issue and missed the entire season. Credit for any coach that needs 3 kickers and 3 punters to get through the season. He was battle-tested in adversity at the very least. Dobert's Bills unit ranked 4th in special team penalties in 2025. 26 penalties for 239 yards for Tobert's group in 2025. The 26 penalties ranked the 4th highest. The 239 yards ranked the 3rd highest in the 2023 Tobert's Panthers unit ranked 6th most in yardage. 2022 they ranked 1st. The unit will push the envelope, but they must reign in the Yellow Hankies in 2026 for the Dolphins franchise that isn't going to have the luxury of talent or the margin of error to absorb lost yardage. Tua Tagovailoa looms as the Dolphins' elephant in the room as a new regime arrives, and the new report doubles down on Miami's mindset. Are the Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa still headed towards a divorce this offseason? Winners and losers from Bobby Slowik's promotion to Dolphins offensive coordinator under coach Jeff Hafley. The Miami Dolphins have an offensive coordinator, and they didn't have to stray far from home to find one. Reports on Saturday evening indicated that the Dolphins were promoting offensive assistant Bobby Slowik to offensive coordinator, making him the first coach of Mike McDaniel's staff to secure a spot on the new staff. Slowik was once considered a young star coordinator for his work with Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud as a rookie. After a regression in 2024, Slowik was let go and joined the Dolphins staff as a senior passing game coordinator. The Dolphins passing game didn't leap off the screen in 2025, but it's nearly impossible to filter assignment blame between Slowik and QB's coach Darrell Bevell, OC Frank Smith, former head coach Mike McDaniel, and quarterback Tua Tagovailoa's regression. Who could some of the early winners and losers be of Hafley's decision to promote Slowik? Potential winners and losers of Hafley's decision to promote Slowik. Aaron Brewer is seen as a winner. Everyone was worried about Brewer's future in Miami would look like after his breakout under Mike McDaniel. We've never gotten the vote of confidence from new general manager Eric Sullivan, who calls Brewer a building block of the roster, and now Hafley is keeping Slowik on staff. There will be changes to the offense, but the root family of the scheme is off the same trees as what Miami has run the last 2 seasons. That means Brewer's weaponized athleticism and range as a blocker should get similar opportunities to shine in 2026. Loser, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. It's very difficult to compartmentalize what role Slowik did or didn't have in the new version of the offense from 2025. It is clear that it didn't work. Tagovailoa, in a cruel twist, had his second healthy season in the NFL in 2025, but still missed the final 3 games due to benching. And he did not play well in Slowik's 1 season in Miami. Tagovailoa had voiced an interest in a fresh start if he was going to get one in Miami, keeping assistance from last year's offensive staff amid the head coaching change doesn't feel the best way to get it. Winner offensive line coach Butch Berry. We don't know Butch Berry's fate yet, but what we do know is that Berry and Slowik go way back, all the way back to 2006 at Michigan, where Berry was the offensive coordinator for Slowik's last 2 seasons as a player. 'Slowik will help the Dolphins run an offense scheme rooted in Miami's under Mike McDaniel. He knows these players, and so does Barry. He's got up to 3 years of time on task with Miami's linemen. Barry did a great work with Brewer and left tackle Patrick Ball, and helped to get the best out of tackle Austin Jackson too. Slook keeping the scheme family in place would presumably boost Barry's chances of staying. Loser, wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. This turned out to be quite the square peg in a round hole scenario. In 2025, Ikhine was brought in to be the physical blocker and secondary counterpunch in the passing game. He finished the year with 11 receptions for 81 yards. There were lower numbers across the board than we've seen from Westbrook-Ikhine since his rookie year in 2020. And now Westbrook-Ikhine looming as a potential salary cap casualty, yet no reprieve in the way of the new offensive system in Miami. I would guess this pushes him closer to being a roster cut this offseason. They were lower numbers. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I already read that. Sorry, guys. Winner, fullback, Alec Ingold. While Westbrook-Ikhine now looks like a potential roster cut with the move to promote Slowick, this feels like a good news for the highly regarded fullback, Alec Ingold. Ingold carries a $5 million salary cap charge in 2026, and depending on the offensive vision, Ingold could have been deemed redundant or no longer worth the combination of a high salary cap charge and a roster spot to play fullback. Now, Ingold gets peace of mind knowing that the fullback isn't necessarily on the way out of Miami. Fullback Andrew Beck played nearly 350 snaps for Slowick in Houston in 2023, his first season as Texans offensive coordinator. Ingold isn't out of the woods yet, but knowing that Hafley wants to get under center and run the ball, plus Slowick's experience with fullback bodes well to Tagovailoa as the Dolphins elephant in the room as new regime arrives. Dolphins added wide receivers coach to Jeff Hafley's staff. Miami Dolphins are rapidly changing the infrastructure, and a new addition with over 30 years of experience is going to be a part of it. According to several reports, the Miami Dolphins are hiring wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert from the Tennessee Titans. Tolbert is the second addition to the new look staff being built on the offensive side of the ball by Jeff Hafley after Bobby Slowick was introduced as the offensive coordinator last week. Tolbert brings over 32 years of NFL experience making stops in various locations, including the Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills, Tennessee Titans. However, he has not advanced past wide receivers coach title, accepting 2 years in Chicago when he was the passing game coordinator. That being said, Tolbert has worked with some incredible wide receivers in his time in the league. In Arizona, he was part of the staff that oversaw on Juan Bolden's remarkable 2003 season, where he accounted for 1,377 yards on just 101 receptions. In his time in Buffalo, he had guys like Eric Mold, Lee Evans. In Denver, he had guys like Eric Decker, Demetrius Thomas, and Wells Welker. C. Smith Jr. in Carolina, OBJ in New York. A proven track record with recent question marks. However, over the past two jobs, the passing attacks were not memorable. In Chicago, he had a quarterback in Justin Fields who could not seem to get the passing game going at all. Although DJ Moore did have a good 2023 season with 1,364 yards and 8 touchdowns to his name. His move to Tennessee under Brian Callahan was not much better, as only one pass catcher even logged 560 yards over Tolbert's 2 seasons with the team. To top it off, 2 years with the Titans, The Tennessee offense ranked 27th and 30th respectively in points per game. In order for him to succeed in Miami, he may have to get a bit more creative. What Tolbert's arrival means for Miami's uncertain receiver room. The Dolphins' wide receiver situation could get very tricky over the next couple of weeks, with many expecting the team to part ways with star wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Still, there are expected to hold on to wide receiver 2 Jalen Waddle, but that decision will be up to the new general manager, John Eric Sullivan, aka Sully. With the history of success that Tolbert has had throughout his career, it would not be crazy to believe that he can help turn around the wide receiver room no matter what. With Waddle potentially in tow, you will have a key building block in the room that could be filled with youth. The success of the wide receiver room next year could come down to how the Dolphins diagnose and assess other areas that need improvement. Can they improve the QB situation, or will they roll with yours? Will they be active in the draft, picking up high-value players? And most importantly, will the defensive-minded Jeff Hafley look to improve the defense? All those questions remain to be answered, but hiring Tolbert is a good sign for the high-end wide receiver production. Guys, I like all these 3 hires. They have a lot of experience in the NFL. Like the last article said, Tolbert's wide receiver rooms have struggled the last 2 or 3 years, but he's got 32 years of experience. And also, did Tennessee have superstar or talented wide receivers the last 2 years? With a lot of talent, superstar talent? I don't believe so. Let me go ahead and tell you a little background on these 3 coaches. Tolbert was a special teams coordinator in 2025 for the Buffalo Bills, 2023 the Carolina Panthers, 2022 the Carolina Panthers, 2021 Chicago Bears, 2020 Chicago Bears, 2019 Chicago Bears, 2018 Chicago Bears, 2017 Cleveland Browns, 2016 Cleveland Browns, 2015 Cleveland Browns, 2014 Cleveland Browns, 2013 Cleveland Browns, 2012 Cleveland Browns, 2011 Cleveland Browns, and then in 2010 he was assistant special teams coach in Chicago. 2009 assistant special teams coach. So he's had a long run as a special teams coordinator, but he started getting involved in special teams in 2008 and then was in college in 2000 and 1999. But he started getting involved in special teams in 2000. But in the NFL, he started getting involved in special teams and being an assistant in 2008. 2025's senior passing game coordinator, this is Bobby Slowick. 2024, Houston's offensive coordinator. 2023, Houston's offensive coordinator. 2022, San Francisco 49ers offensive passing game coordinator. 2021, San Francisco 49ers offensive passing game specialist. 2020, offensive assistant coach for San Francisco. 2019, offensive assistant coach for San Francisco. 2018, defensive quality control coach. 2017, defensive quality control coach, all in San Francisco. 2017, defensive assistant with the Washington Redskins. 2012, Washington Redskins. 2011, defensive assistant with the Washington Redskins, and 2010, video assistant with the Washington Redskins. So he started getting experience on the offensive side of the ball in 2019 with the San Francisco 49ers. And Tolbert, he's had 32 years of experience. That's all I can tell you. But I like these hires so far from Coach Hafley. Leave me your comments down in the comment section. I appreciate your support. And let me know what you think of these 3 coaches being hired by Jeff Hafley. His first 3 coaches and coordinators being hired by Jeff Hafley and his staff. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of these 3 hires. And like always, stay positive, stay on your grind, and go Dolphins.